Welcome to Virtual Training Wheels and Mobius. Virtual Training Wheels and Mobius is a system I designed to help non-native speaking English speakers to become fluent in verb conjugation in a much shorter period of time than traditional methods. This system is built to teach fluency to ESL students, people from other parts of the world who don't grow up speaking English fluently and need that fluency to have more opportunities in the world, because 1 of 8 people on earth speak English. And English is the language that is being used as the modern day lingua franca. Lingua franca is the international language that the world has decided to use. So for education, travel, business, English helps you to make more money, to be more successful, and in the end, to share the beauty of yourself and your culture with the world. So to be considered well educated in the world itself, I guess, has decided that English is the way that we judge each other in our ability to communicate with each other. This is out of everybody's hands, but this is a fact of the world we live in today. So I wanted to create something that would allow everybody or anybody on earth for me to give to other people the same gifts and the same opportunities that I've been given as a native English speaker. I'm very grateful, and through that gratitude, I want to give back to the world and to give the world that same ability and those same gifts. So let's talk about Mobius for a couple minutes as an introduction. You can see this splash page. It has a floating. Over here at the top is floating and bouncing up and down is the word Mobius, which is the card game you see down here in the bottom right-hand corner. Here there's a menu over here on the right-hand side, and at the top there's an introduction. At the very top of the screen here, it has the icon, which is also repeated here. And that is Virtual Training Wheels, which is this entire system. Virtual Training Wheels is a series of interactive PDFs. Let's look at that first on the menu so you can see it. We have an introduction. We have 2, 3, 4, 5 parts. We have 1, 2. I'll move this for you for a second. 3, 4, 5 games and a phonics wall. So this is a number of interactive PDFs I've created to help along this process, so you can get a complete, full grip of what this entire bones, how finite this language actually is underneath all of the seemingly endless vocabulary. The way this language works is not, and I'm sure it's probably true of most languages, the actual underlying foundation, the operating system of the language is actually quite small. And so it's small enough that a small child picks it up and is speaking within a couple of years of life. So by 3, a child is speaking English, right? Any other language. And that's not a mistake. I mean, that's natural. So there's a reason for that. It's not that difficult, and I'd like to share that with you. I'd like the world to have the same opportunities I've had, as I said. And so let's go back to the beginning, and let's look at the introduction. So that's what this is an introduction to Mobius and Virtual Training Wheels. So let's go there. Okay, so here we go. Let me keep moving forward. Okay, I'll read this off to you. It says, I'll need to move myself around as I do this. My apologies, but this is just the constraints of technology. So here we go. Mobius is a visual language system that re-engineers English using icons, patterns, and the 5 W's to teach grammar through instinct. Excuse me? Not memorization. It's like training wheels for fluency. Students see meaning flow in real time, unlocking structure, vocabulary, and confidence faster than traditional methods. Language becomes visible, learning becomes natural. Just keep moving forward. In Mobius, there you go. Mobius is like a gym for your brain. Instead of passively listening, you actively work out by speaking, thinking, and responding using exercises designed as games. You build real fluency fast through action, not theory. This is where you upgrade your abilities and your life, gaining confidence, skill, and lasting language power. The whole idea here is that via play, it's more fun to play than study, right? And they have proven through studies that you learn more when you're having fun and you're playing than you do if you're doing a traditional learning method. So I believe route memorization doesn't work as far as communication. With almost 30 years of ESL experience. It doesn't help the student to speak. So this focus of this whole system here is to do an exercise that helps students to be able to recognize what they're hearing, and so they can hear it, they can respond to it. Speech is the goal here, not reading or writing skills. So let's go ahead and move forward. In order to do this, I built a bunch of icons, and the icons are the parts of speech. There are 8 parts of speech in English, and by learning the icons, you've learned grammar, but you're not actually studying grammar in a formal sense. It's learning to understand grammar like a child would, which allows you to communicate and speak. So let's move forward and look at the icons. Okay, so here they are. The icons are, this is the 5 W's, and that is part 1. Part 2 is the noun. This is the noun, and these are the corresponding parts to the noun: the subject pronoun, the object pronoun, the possessive pronoun, the reflexive pronoun, the adjective and the order of adjectives, the determiner, the articles, the demonstratives, the possessive adjectives, and the number of things. Those are all part 2. It's part 2, the interactive PDF for part 2. Part 3, interactive PDF that I built, is represented by these 2 icons, which is positive and negative for the following icons: to do or not to do, to have or not to have, to be or not to be. The modal, because there is no future verb in English. Will, can, could, should, might, must. These. The adverb and the infinitive. Okay, and that is all part 3. Part 4 is the preposition. The preposition also reviews the infinitive. And then part 5 is the conjunction and the interjection. So let's go ahead and look at those really quickly. The first one is the 5 W's. I wrote these concepts down in Korean because I teach in Korea, and it's good for the students to pick them up quickly this way. So these terms are written in Korean for that reason. So here we have who, what, where, when, how, and why. Who is a person? What is a thing? Where is a map? When is a clock? How is a gear? And why is a question? They're also made in colors and shapes if that's to help the students to remember them. If they want to mix them up in different order and put them back together until they get it. Yeah, that's the point of that. The next icon is the noun. So that's a noun is a person, a place, a thing, or an idea. The next icon is this is a larger icon, that is a comprehensive icon that you'll see in the system in part 2. This is part 2. And it is the noun, which has all the corresponding parts of speech. And the order in which it goes and ends with the person, place, thing, or idea, which is the noun. So the noun is more complex than just saying a single word, right? So this gets into doing this. So we learn how to count our nouns so we can connect them to the correct verbs and make good sentences, through natively, like a reflex, by doing it over and over. And in this case, I'll go over and explain this later, but this is the subject, which is red and hot, and this is the object, which is blue because it's passive. The subject is the doer, the object is the receiver. We'll go into this later. Let's go to the next one. The next one is the pronouns. So these pronouns here are the subject, object, possessive, and reflexive pronoun. These are all explained in part 2. Also in part 2, we have the adjective, and in the adjective we have the 5 senses: see, hear, taste, touch, feel. But I believe that that's actually 6, because feel is not only touching but feelings, as how you feel your emotions. Those are explained in part 2 as well. Also in part 2 we have the determiner, and also in part 2 we have the articles, and also in part 2 we have the demonstratives, and continuing in part 2 we have the possessive adjective, whose. Also in part 2 we have numbers of things, numbers. Okay, let's keep continuing, and we also have adjectives in the order of adjectives. Also, now we move to part 3. Part 3 is the verb. So in part 3, the third interactive PDF, we talk about the verbs, and this first icon or image we learn is to do or not to do. Then we learn to have or not to have. Then we learn to be or not to be. And then we learn the modal, because there isn't a future verb, as I have said. There's a will to make the future form would be, have, and do, plus can, could, would, should, might, must. These and a few others. After the modal, we go to the infinitive. We're still in part 3. And then we have the adverb. And then we have, this is a combination of all these things. Be, to do, to not to do, to be, to not to be, to have or not to have, to will or won't. There are 7 here. There's a 7 here because there are 7 patterns that you'll study in this system. And you learn the 7 patterns in 3 positions, the present, the past, and the future, and you have complete conjugation fluency. So part 4 is the preposition, which is a repeat of the 5 W's, but it has a marker before it, which is the preposition comes before these positions, and you follow them to give you the correct order. So this is the icon for the preposition. This is part 5, the conjunction, and also with part 5 you get the interjection. So these are the parts. I'll go back to the beginning. Back to the menu. So as you can see here, we have Mobius the card game, which is in here in the menu, and we have all the parts of speech with an introduction here. This is virtual training wheels, and the card game is Mobius, and this is a fun, enjoyable, different way of looking at grammar and the English language, and by exercising, playing this exercise, doing the exercise, which is done as a card game. As a student, you can sit back, relax, have fun with your friends, listen to music, play cards, and play the tenses as games. That's what this is. The Mobius card game is an exercise of practicing your verb tenses, and when you're done, you will have verb tense fluency, and you will have learned your irregular verbs, and you will be like as fluent as a small child in the English language, and you will have the foundation you need to be a true global citizen. So this is the goal, and this is the system I made with my experience of over 3 decades of teaching ESL. I hope this really benefits you, and I look forward to doing this with you. So thank you very much, and let's do this. If you have the mind to do this, nothing can stop you. This is not difficult. It just takes the required effort of playing the game and having fun. So let's do it. Welcome to Mobius and Virtual Training Wheels.